innovative content, global audience.
Hello viewers, it's another Saturday here and it's very sunny here in the Abuja Federal Capital Territory. And then we have, today we are discussing with my girlfriend here, my colleague, the very adorable Emma, and we are discussing on incest, of my favorite program, Romance and Relationship. How are you doing today, Emma? You're welcome to the show.
Hello, Kessy. You look really beautiful.
And you look like a bride.
Oh, I'm blushing already. Yeah, the Abuja sun, man, it's getting crazy and crazy.
The weather is something else.
Like, seriously.
So how you doing? Like, how has been your week so far?
Next week is election, so we are all hoping, looking forward to next week already. But so far, so good. It's been amazing. We had Valentine's Day and then the love and every other thing. Oh,
it was a beautiful week, and then we know that in Abuja right now, as we can see, a lot of people, they've already left the city. The place is becoming very scanty. People are going home to vote, and we hope that it's a prayer that the thing will go very well and successful.
sure.
Anyway, like I said, if you are just joining us, this is Romance and Relationship on your favorite show. Today we are discussing incense. What is incense, and why do people get involved in it? A lot of people, ranging from children to adults, family members, they are involved in this act. And then today I have with me, like I introduced Ellen, to discuss on this incense. The way to go about it, the way to stop it, and the way to eradicate it from our society. Of course, we know that for some people, it's something that it's normal for some society. Of course,
Yeah.
like when you go to some northern parts of the country, it's they tell you that it's normal. You see cousins getting married, you see family members getting married. But like where I come from,
It's a taboo.
it's a taboo. And so incense, we know that when you say the word incense, it's when two close people, two close relatives, family members are involved in sexual activity. Now, how would you describe this act?
When you say, like, to some persons, they are living in this kind of denial. It doesn't even exist. Now, for instance, you are living in a home, in this part of the country where we come from, people get married, and some persons, because of the financial constraints, they have to raise children, raise a family, family of 5 living in one room. Of course, the parents have to still procreate, and the children, I don't know how they manage to do it, whether they have to close their mouth or whatever. You still engage in this thing. So some of these children grow up, you see children changing in one room, and of course, as you grow in this age of you're getting aware. These children start, some of them innocently
Begin to see
engage in these
things they are not
and then,
supposed to.
parents are so busy, they are so occupied, they turn a blind eye. Some of them, this with this issue of absentee parents, you're not always available. A lot of things happen. Like, I've interacted with a couple of, it's not only girls, but it's mostly common with young girls. You see cousins abusing, cousins.
But even guys are involved.
Yes, even young boys. I've interacted with a couple of young boys, and they'll tell me, I lost my virginity to my cousin that used to live with us. The big question is, where were the parents when all of this is going on?
That's true. I understand. And another thing is that when people do not create boundaries,
Yeah.
like you said, when people do not create boundaries, I think parents should put eyes on their younger ones. And then when you are always busy, sometimes these people could, like you said, innocently, they could just be involved in this thing,
Exactly.
seeing it as if it's nothing. After all, we are cousins, we are siblings, and nothing is there. And not just cousins and siblings. Sometimes you see fathers. That one is very common in the society,
yeah.
where you see fathers
Sleeping with
their daughters.
even getting them pregnant.
Yes, like in recent times, if you like from last year to now, it has been on the news like on a monthly basis, where you see fathers having intercourse with your children,
Yeah.
getting them pregnant.
And then you'll be wondering.
The one that happened at Anambra State, it was the man had to impregnate the 3 daughters. And he's telling you, I don't know what came over me and all that. And then sometimes I begin to wonder, how come you go to that level of not just 1 or 2, but 3?
Yeah.
Yes, but three. And sometimes too, I think incest let's look at it from the fact that when a man gets married to a lady, you should be able to see her family as your family. Of course, you are not families.
Yeah.
You are not.
Sorry to interrupt there. This brought, memories back to, I think, the story of a young girl from Queen's College, Local, that, the auntie brought her all in the quest to get, proper education, to live with them. And then her husband and her son, that is her own uncles, and, her auntie's husband, were having intercourse with her. And then it got so bad that the mother didn't even notice, or she turned a blind eye, because it wasn't once. Because once a child is being abused in a house, right, you will start seeing the obvious signs are there. And then the mother turned a blind eye, and got so bad that it was at the point where she was almost dying, that they noticed. Now, the point is, if you got married and you have young children in the house, what is your responsibility? What is your duty? How do you hope to protect them?
And that is why I say that parents, adults should learn to take children as theirs. You don't say because, for instance, now there was this story last week on the news that a man in Lagos had to impregnate, the wife was pregnant, and then he now got the wife's younger sister pregnant also. So I'm thinking that once you get married into a family, you should be able to see everybody as your family. So you don't have to do such a thing. Even if you want to get married, you can go to another family. But getting the younger sister of your wife pregnant is another thing. I see this as incest also, not just basically about related family. These are things that people could see, the society see as abominable acts. And then another thing is that when parents, I don't know how they do it, but they tend to look away sometimes. They see these things, but they see it as if, they are children, they are young, they don't know anything.
Or they feel they are too spiritual, and then such a thing cannot happen around them.
That's true.
Yeah.
And then they feel like the children are too young, they don't understand what all these things mean. But you forget that even the Bible says that train up a child in the way he should grow. And so when they are old, they don't depart from that way. We know that some will depart, of course, it's life. There's nothing you can do. People go to schools, and then when they enter the higher institution, they get carried away. We know, but like yes, that's true. But we're still the pressure. That one is another ball game at the higher institution level. But we're talking about the household now, the children. We're saying parents should not look away from these things. And even these days on social media, you see like that Ghanaian lady actress or so.
Oh my goodness.
You saw that story, right?
Like, when I was growing up, this was like a culture in my home. You don't lock your doors. Whether you are sleeping at night, because my mom can sneak into your room anytime to just check up on you. So, like, no matter how busy she is, okay, we had a separate room for boys and for girls, but then you won't even know when she will come in, and then we adjust you. Maybe you're lying down in a way and all of those things. But then today, in today's society where we have, it's not. I don't think most parents even take active parts. Maybe they are stressed. Yeah, but you can never be too stressed. To the point of looking after your children. And then we see a lot of people engage in this codependence kind of syndrome, especially single parents, emotional incest, because I was reading a lot on this topic, and then I got to understand that there's something called emotional incest, just like you pointed out from that celebrity. She may not be sleeping with this young child per se, but exposing that the real
attitude, what you do with them is what will be stuck into their, it will be in their head, and tomorrow they become a nuisance to the society, not just to you but to the society. We have a lot of celebrities, even to decay, where you will see that her son they are kissing, touching her in the places he's not supposed to. It's my word. I'm building my world around my son. This is the only person I can relate to. This is the only person I have in my life. But I'm thinking that there should be limits, boundaries. It's not everything you allow a child to see or to touch, because of course they will grow up with that mindset. And then tomorrow they will see their cousin or another child at home, and they begin to do the same thing because they do these things with the parents, and the parents are so comfortable with them doing these things. And at the end of the day, you just find out that they are so comfortable doing these things, and they don't see anything wrong in what they're doing. We have a lot of siblings that are involved in this. A lot of children, a lot of parents especially fathers and daughters. And I begin to think, I read a story of a young girl saying that she has been sleeping with the dad for so many years, and she's not feeling guilty. It's something she's still involved in.
Because her brain is already messed up.
Yes. So at this point, what do you think? How do you think we can now sanitize the society of this act, this very evil act? Although before you go to that question, this is something that a lot of people, like I said, see as a norms in their society. They don't see it as if it's a taboo.
They turn a blind eye.
Yes. Where I come from is a taboo. And even for instance, let me say this, even for instance, you mistakenly get married into a family that you're related to. I used to have an auntie, and my mother told me that story, that she got married to her cousin without knowing that they were cousins. So sometimes you could meet somewhere outside the states and something, and because you are not very familiar with your family members, you fall into this. And they at a point they already had children before they got to find out they were with blood relations. And at the end of the day, they had to kill a goat, a blind. That the goat has to be yes, but not just a goat, the one with a blind eye.
Yeah.
So some.
They get a good.
They got it, and they got it, and they had to do some kind of rituals and all that to cleansing. That's the word. They had to clean them, and they went their separate ways. That if they don't, the moment they find out, maybe they will be living okay. They've been okay, and nothing is going on. But the moment you find out that you're actually cohabiting with your cousin as a husband or as a wife, and then you refuse to do nothing about it, then something might just go wrong. And of course, it's a taboo.
No,
that's
Africa, we are unique in many ways.
Yeah.
Didn't even finding a blind goat, from cleansing.
There's another thing in another society. It could be something else they use for the cleansing. But where I come from, that was the story my mother told me. And of course, they had to do the cleansing. They went their separate ways. I asked my mother, "What about the children? What become of the children? That what is there? They're already there, and there is nothing anybody can do."
Why make the parents go their separate ways and the children can't be separated?
Because they are siblings, so at that point they still had to separate them. But like I'm saying, like for instance, when you go to India, that country, a lot of people get married to their cousins, to their siblings, and it's a normal thing. I met somebody from Cameroon, to be precise, another friend that told me that their place, you could get married to your cousin. They don't see it as anything. And I feel like, okay, but my part where I come from, this is a very serious taboo.
Okay.
So if we're talking about cleansing, if we're talking about sanitizing the society, let's look at those parts where this word incense, people sleeping with their blood-related family members is a taboo. So what do you think that could actually... And another thing, why do you think parents were involved in that kind of act?
Okay. Oh, I'm not laughing because it's a laughing matter, but it's such a big issue that the society don't really, pay attention to. Like I interacted with a friend of mine. He's a medical doctor now, to God be the glory, and he's happily married. He said while growing up, he was so much abused by close family members that were living with him in the same house, to an extent that when he grew up, he didn't have any regards for a woman, because he just felt, oh, this is what it is now. Just grab, touch, anything you want to do.
Get away with it.
You just do whatever you have to do. So he felt like women are so cheap, because these were all cousins coming at him. And then at some point, when he became aware and he started growing up and reading about these issues, he was almost having issues, with even relating with the opposite sex.
Wow.
There was this withdrawal syndrome. He took to alcohol. He took to a lot of things, but the God that helped him, he said he actually met his wife, who is actually on the spiritual side, and then he led him to Christ and all that. But not everybody have this love.
That opportunity.
If you're asking why people get involved in these things, some of them don't even have a reason. It's just like I'm telling you, overexposure. Okay, like I am now. I started from a very young age knowing that, okay, I'm a woman. And I have to cover myself my brothers. We are around, when men were around, I had to sit modestly. Of course, I'm an African woman, and I take pride in that. And these are the things, that our parents, imbibe in us, teaching us from a very young age.
That's true.
You don't have to sit anyhow. You sit properly.
As a woman.
As a woman, as an African woman, most importantly. Right. And then, okay, now, as a young girl too, I was also taught that, okay, this is who I am. And my brothers were also given the same training. But for instance, if you grew up in a home where Nobody trains anybody. You just grow up like that. People just get involved in different kinds of crime, do a lot of things, commit whatever they want to do. So we can't really pinpoint. And then in African society, we can say, okay, it's a spiritual issue. This person is possessed. This person is this. But sometimes these persons who involve themselves in incest, sometimes it's as a result of, should I say, negligence from parents, because it starts from when they are little.
Little.
They are growing up. You see, touch my dress, do this. Small boys and all of it in the house, and then sometimes the parents don't have that closeness with these
To observe
children.
these things, to know what is
observe
going
things,
on.
to counsel, to scold, to whatever it is they have to do, to help them. I mean, sometimes it's just some persons with mental maybe problems. They are not mentally stable, because you're talking of the adults abusing, their small cousins.
Yes.
For instance, because you are aware that this thing is evil, this thing is bad. So some of them are not mentally stable. So the big question is, to what extent the parents cannot be everywhere at the same time. But if you have a young child, if you have a young daughter, if you have a young son, I think you have a bigger responsibility. If you are bringing cousins to the house, you should be able to answer for their moral. You should know this person is morally upright, and you should know that this person that you are bringing to the house is sound enough not to do anything.
And another thing is that it's not just the children, like I said. You see where parents, for instance, fathers sleeping with their older daughters that are both 20. So I'm thinking that even the child and the father, they are aware that this is evil, this is an evil act, this is a taboo. So why do you think they're involved in this thing? And somebody who always said, like, I read a story and somebody said this could be ritual purposes and all that. But away from that, what do you think, Anna, that we can do to sanitize, to cleanse this thing? Because I know that a lot of people, a lot of society, what they do is that when you're caught in this act, they somehow, the people involved are driven away from the society. Do you get?
Is that a solution?
No, but here in Africa, most parts, that is what they do. That is what they practice, especially from the eastern part of the country. I know of people that they banish you. Yeah, they banish you. That's the word. They banish you. They banish you from the society as a whole. And then, what do you think? Do you think this is the way forward? Because for me, I think when you banish these people, they might just go somewhere and continue with this act. That does not even resolve the issue. So what do you think that they can do? Because I feel that banishment is not even the same. Shouldn't be a punishment for them. And of course, when you banish people, doesn't mean that they are going to stop the evil they are doing. Of course, they could go to another society where they will even be more comfortable without hiding, because of course nobody knows them from there, and they just move on with their life and continue with the same evil thing that they've been doing. So away from the banishment, and what do you think? I advocate that people shouldn't be banished when it comes to a lot of people, that is why I'm using the eastern part for example. When you go there, they will say, okay, this person has been banished, nobody talks to you, whether or not you're in the society, nobody talks to you, nobody buys from you, nobody sells to you. And this one becomes another problem to the people involved, where the world just shut down on you, and then they become, at that point, they might start having mental issues and another thing. Well, how do you think we can resolve this? What do you think they should do apart from the banishment?
Now, when you talk about, okay, let me come from where you talked about, even adults, engage in incest. Some of these things don't start from there. Like, okay, for instance, I always want to refer to, okay, single parents, for instance. You are looking at, oh, this is my bestie. I've seen matured men, who feel that I can trust my daughter so much to discussing issues. So that is where it starts from. You start trusting your daughter instead of looking for friends, looking for healthy relationships outside. Oh, let me discuss with my daughter. It's my son. At least I can tell him anything. I talk to him. This person broke my heart. Start hugging me. Start doing this. Before you know, emotions grow and all of this. So instead of banishment, I'm always an advocate of counseling. You look at people's mental health. These things have happened already. So take these people through counseling.
The process.
Because no matter the cleansing you do, if you don't take them through the natural processes, these people are emotionally damaged for life. Okay, like the instance you gave of the couple, the brothers, the siblings that got married, and then as a result, they banished the parents. Now the children are in it for the rest of their lives. mentally they are damaged.
What can we do?
Mentally they are damaged.
This is Africa.
Take them through counseling.
Anyway,
church, let them deliver them.
And I hold that thought
in African community.
And I hold that thought. We'll be right back.
All right.
And viewers, if you're just joining us, this is Romance and Relationship, and today's discussion we are talking about incense in the society. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Just relax and sit and wait.
RTV London, in partnership with NTA TV Enterprise, present the maiden edition of the Nigerian Week in the capital of the world, London. A wonderful blend of entertainment, business, and networking, displaying a wide range of art, national cash crops, financial product and services, and real estate for huge extra opportunity in diaspora. Look no further. The 36 states of the Federation, the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture, Trade and Investment, the Nigerian Film Corporation, and host of others will be in attendance. Date 15 to 21st of May 2023. Venue Lighthouse, Camberwell, Southeast London. For details, log on www.superiorradiotelevision.com/Nigerian Week or call +447 549 513 619 or +234 814 358 2856. The Nigerian Week, celebrating the best of Nigeria from the rest.
Hello viewers, you're welcome. If you're just joining us, this is Romance and Relationship on your favorite TV, SRTV, and we've been discussing incense. I have with me here my colleague, my very beautiful girl, Anna. So Anna, you were saying something about how to sanitize the society, what we should do to make sure that things like this do not happen all the time.
On the serious note, you can take them for counseling. There are lots of, counseling resources available in churches, anywhere you want to take them to, but let them have counseling and let them, it's just like somebody committing crime and that person not, realizing that what he or she is doing is actually wrong, because that is where it starts from. If, two people, siblings are engaged in something and they don't understand that these things they are engaged in is actually bad, then they won't have, in the future, they will even have it with their own children when they start procreating, having their own families. But when they are taken through counseling, you don't have to shame people publicly. Sometimes
that's true.
You don't have to shame people.
That shaming thing is another thing, because when you make it a society show and you start shaming these people, that is where the problem.
Solve the problem.
Yes, that's true.
It doesn't solve the problem. Some persons might even say, make I go even do and make I see what it go happen. And some persons might become too careful, because I've read where, you see siblings having relationships, having sex and all of those things, and they keep it away from their parents for so long. And then sometimes too, you can also be on the lookout. You see how close these siblings are, how jealous they are of
jealous. That's another thing.
Siblings cannot allow another sibling to have a healthy relationship. They will destroy it. And you might be thinking, she's been overprotective. But beyond this overprotectiveness, there's something else going on. So instead of this public show of, in our Nigerian society, when somebody commits a crime, everybody labels it as a taboo. The gods are angry. This one is this. So we should take them for proper counseling. We have professionals in these fields who can help them go through all of this, understand the weight of, what they have done, and help them, come out of it and become better, citizens, better, human beings, and be able to accept love, in a proper way.
I am thinking also that another thing we could do is to create boundaries. I used that word before. When you know that you have children at home, there should be boundaries, limits to the things you do in their front, in their presence, the things they see and the things they watch. Because, for instance, we talked about Todike earlier. The things he
exposes
herself, yes, the sons
at a very tender age when he's not mentally
ready for it, such things. And then we wouldn't want children to grow up in that kind of environment where parents, siblings. So there should be boundaries. That's one way we can actually help. This issue can.
And even boundaries shouldn't just be with parents, even the people who are, just like you're talking about how to sanitize the society. If two people are caught, for instance, in committing these crimes, they should be able, after going through all this counseling, I think one of the things...
And counseling also, not just the counseling. That's the most serious part of it.
One of the things they can recommend is for them to set boundaries. Maybe you can decide to send one sibling away so that they can stay apart for a period of time, because you cannot separate them. They're already related by blood.
Blood.
But you can decide to send one to school in Sokoto and decide to keep one in Abuja or whatever, so that they can stay apart from each other. They say sometimes out of sight, it's out of mind. This can also help them. And of course, when you talk about the emotional incest aspect of it, you should also know when you have a little child, because I have seen where parents overexpose their children to the things they tell them, the things they say to them. These things create mental image in children, and they want to explore, they want to try out, they want to, go and see how they can also, try things out. And then, of course, if you are building a home, you should have the mental image of the kind of home you want to build. If I get married today and I'm having my home, I wouldn't allow my cousin, who is a male, to date my female children. That is a no-no. No matter how much I trust this cousin of mine, he is never going to be left with my daughter
alone.
to date her, because if you are dating this girl, you have to wash everywhere and you have to make sure you do it properly. So I won't feel safe as a mother, to allow her cousin or whoever it is, a male figure in the house,
to do that
to my daughter. And you get, so that's just that about that.
Then another thing too, when we talk about I think parents should also keep an eye. And sometimes too, we talk about parents when we know that, fine, the society, they say all fingers are not equal, but we are saying that once it's time for parents to do things, adult things, they should be able, no matter how the place they are, the environment, because sometimes it starts from when you live in a very small house, very small place, and
so
parents.
Are you telling me you chase your children outside? Because
I'm not saying you should chase. No, that is not it. For instance, if you're living in a one-room apartment, there's a way you can pattern the whole thing. There's a partition you can put.
Oh, you can make the children to go
cover.
Sleep.
Yes. So because this is where some of these things start from, where parents expose children to things they are not supposed to see, and even siblings say, okay, mommy and daddy used to do this, let's do this.
So what if you
from there.
Sorry, for instance, and then you use a COVID and pat it, and the child wakes up in the middle of the night, mommy, and then
you know that the fact that you live in that kind of place, there are limits to the things you should do as adult also. Keep it down. It really hurts also. So it's for the benefit of your children, their health and their well-being. You can't do this in their friends with other noise and everything, because children will always explore, like you said. Children will always, when they see things, they want to know, they want to get involved. How is this thing working? So they tend to do these things in your absence. I know what I'm telling you. I watched a video online where I saw little children, 2 children. I was very angry at the person that filmed that and the person that actually sent it online.
And sometimes it's even a cousin that's filming it and think it's joke, because we are in the age where everything is like, people want to get clout chasing. We want to get followers on Instagram. We want to get followers on Twitter. You don't really, censor what goes out there.
Yes, they don't censor. That is it.
Because if I meet 2 children playing in a naughty way, the first thing you should do is to make sure you spank them.
You scope them very well. Yes,
it's actually wrong.
It's wrong. It's bad. So as not to repeat it again. But like we're saying, and we know that we're also calling on parents. We're also calling on parents. They have a major duty to play. They have a major role. Like, you can't just, like you said, leave children at home feeling that they are big, they are okay. Sometimes talk to your children also. That relationship should be there, no matter how big they are. We're not saying that relationship that will lead you into this kind of act, but talk to them, especially the younger ones that are just growing up. You could be a very busy parent. Of course, you have to work at some point. You can't be home all the time, and you cannot be everywhere at the same time. But we're saying that at a point, talk to your children.
Teach them morals,
the things that should be done or not to be done, the things that are wrong. And sometimes too, we know that, like I said earlier, that when children go out of the house, they could do anything, they could become anything. And at that point, you don't have anything to do. You cannot always suppress them or tell them, don't do this, don't do that. But we know that. Keep talking as a parent, monitor your children, no matter how far they are, call them, how are you, don't do anything that is bad, don't do this. And before you know, those things stuck in their head, and they tend to do what is right.
And when you see children imitating some of these cartoon characters, kissing, hugging, and you'll be laughing, and think it's funny. It is not funny. they will grow up and then you start committing, serious crimes. And incest is a serious crime. I'm sure
It's a very
if people are actually looking at it as something that's just minor, oh, she just slept with her brother now, what did they do? Like it's a very, very it's a serious crime. I've seen where like while I was growing up, I heard stories about a father who impregnated the daughter, and it happened that she actually had a baby, but the parents covering up, raised the child as if it's their own child, and the girl didn't even know that was, like the baby they gave birth to didn't even know her mother is supposed to be her sister.
a sister.
You can imagine. And then when the child found out, she committed suicide. There are things that could be avoided,
Sad,
for a fact
sad.
that you should know your duty is not to, is not to go and abuse your daughters. It's to protect them. It's to provide for them. It's to care for them. It's to nurture them. If you're a mother, your duty. See, when I was growing up, I used to think my mother have 12 eyes. Have eyes all over the place because, like,
African mother for me.
like I'm very proud. Like we coming from this part of the world, Africans, our parents like. But these days, I wonder what is actually going on, because these are things.
But even these days, we're in Africa. But these days, you see parents kissing their daughters, touching them, carrying them they will tell you, I love my daughter. I'm being a good father to her and all that. We're not saying you should not be a good father, but they should be limit, like what a boundaries limit to the things you do. Anyways, yes, if you're just joining us, this is Romance and Relationship on SRA TV. We've been discussing about incest in the society. How do we curb it? How do we remove this thing from the society? Don't go anywhere. Sit right back, and we'll be back shortly.
Ladies, are you ready to shine? Here's a golden opportunity for you to show the world the queen in you, as the second edition of Face of SRTV Ladies Edition is about to begin. What are you waiting for? Register online with just 500 naira and stand a chance of winning a cash prize of 100,000 naira and the deal of becoming our ambassador. There will also be consolation prizes for second and third place winners. To register, kindly pay the registration fee and send your name, age, picture, and state of origin to this number 0906 895 2170. For more inquiries, please call 0907 400 7816. Powered by SRTV London, the face of SRTV, who takes the crown.
Hello viewers, welcome back. This is Romance and Relationship on SRA TV, and we'll be discussing about incest. I have with me here Ene. Ene, you were just saying something about the parents, the limits, the boundaries. So what would you say? What's your advice to parents? And of course, the young girls also, especially the sensible ones. We have children of 15, we have children of 14 that are being molested by their parents one way or the other, by their cousins. What do you think they should do?
Like I said, I'm not yet a parent, but if I'm to advise parents or young people who are aspiring to get married, who are dreaming of, getting married, it's always good to have that mental image of the kind of home you want to become, you want to build, the kind of mother or the kind of parent you want to be, and the kind of children you want to raise, and how you want them to view the society and how you want them to behave in the society. The first thing, just like I said before, as a father, your number one duty is to protect your children, male and female, to ensure that their security is guaranteed, to provide for them,
That's
and
right.
to always be there for them, to provide them emotional support, psychological support, and all kinds of support. It's not to abuse them. Your duty, no matter how emotional you are, you can never, you're
Have that feeling with a child.
somewhere you should go and make that
Look
emotion.
at.
Like that is your child, that is your flesh and blood. So anything you do with your child, that is beyond providing for them, like, caring for them, being there for them as a father, that is 100% wrong, and it's a big crime that can end,
Everybody in jail.
you get. And as a mother, you should never be too busy for you to be there for your children, for you to be there for your daughters, for your sons. You should never be too busy like all these mothers, social media mothers. You pressing phone from morning till night. You feel that you have cousins in the house and you trust them so much. You should never trust anybody too much with your kids. That is your number one responsibility. The reason why you got married and you decided to raise a family is because you want to, bring an addition to the society and in a positive way. So if your children are failing, it is you who have failed. So as parents, you should always remember your duties and your responsibilities to your children and to the society at large.
And just to add to that, also, we talked today. I want to direct this to the in-laws. Sometimes family is not just by blood alone. When you get married into a family, automatically you become a part of that family. So look beyond your family. Don't say, after all, she's my wife's sister or my wife's brother, and so I can do this. No, that is not right. That is so wrong. So please, and not just we're not focusing on the female children alone. Even the male children, like we said earlier on the show, that even the boys, they go through the same thing. They go through the same abuse, and so please, we are beckoning on parents, on in-laws, and on the adults to make sure that they put eye on the kids, and of course to stay away from this kind of act that could destroy the society, destroy the image of families. Because sometimes people, when you go to the East, I always use the East because I've always seen one or two experiences there. When you go there, you find out that Mr. A will commit this offense because he's from this family, he's being tagged, he's being robbed all over the whole family. And before you know, they will start blaming the whole family, they start dragging the name of the family into the mud. And so we're begging parents also and adults to please try as much as you can to sanitize the society, to cleanse the society of these incest, this taboo, this abominable acts, so that the children will grow up in a very lovely environment. And so thank you so much for joining us. We have been discussing about incest and romance and relationship. And I just want to remind you of the London week that is coming up May. We'll have a lot of activity. Get your tickets, get your stand. It's going to be fun. We have a lot of artists coming there. We have a lot of cultural activities. We have music shows. We have fashion also, and a lot of designers. A lot of designers will be there. A lot of fashion show. We have a music show. Those will be fun. We have a lot of Africans activity, Nigerian Week London, powered by SRTV, of course. And so
you can't afford to miss it.
I'm telling you cannot miss it. And so we are calling on everybody, stakeholders, be part of it. It's going to be fun, the best week of this year, as far as I'm concerned. I'm so looking forward to it. I can't wait to be there. And thank you so much for being part of the show. We do this again. You know how we do it. Of course, it's always hot and spicy on this show. And so we join you again next week, same time, same station. But before then, be safe, and ahead of the election, please be safe.
Get your PVC and vote.
And vote also, get your PVC and vote. Yeah. Thank you, Emma, for joining me today on the show. We'll do this again next week, hopefully. Thank you so much. And thank you, viewers, for being part of the show. Bye for now.
Ladies, are you ready to shine? Here's a golden opportunity for you to show the world the queen in you, as the second edition of Face of SRTV Ladies Edition is about to begin. What are you waiting for? Register online with just 500 naira and stand a chance of winning a cash prize of 100,000 naira and the deal of becoming our ambassador. There will also be consolation prizes for second and third place winners. To register, kindly pay the registration fee and send your name, age, picture, and state of origin to this number 0906 895 2170. For more inquiries, please call 0907 400 7816. Powered by SRTV London, the face of SRTV, who takes the crown.
For remove this, so as you are playing this thing, you always